Most of what passes for news in the 21st century is little more than context-free filler, taking up space between clickbait ads, multi-level marketing schemes, pharmaceutical products, and woke corporate trash. It's designed to make the consumer feel a quick flood of emotions that will allow them to stick through the commercial break. That's many things, but it's not journalism. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan with a reflection on life and liberty. Recently, after an event, I chatted with a fellow who wanted to talk about every national story of the day. He told me how he religiously flipped between several cable networks so he could hear everything. I watched his blood pressure rise as he recounted one soundbite story after another, and he seemed desperate, like a junkie needing a fix, for more quick national news stories that would make him angry. He stared blankly at me, though, when I asked his thoughts on state and local issues. He knew about the latest scandals in Washington, D.C., but he didn't know that standing next to us in this conversation was his county's long-serving sheriff. He told me he didn't vote in governor elections, only for presidents. Honestly, it made me sad. Instinctively, this fellow knew he needed to connect with people to engage effectively. The media and the political culture hadn't yet completely educated that out of him. He knew to be angry, but not how to make a difference. Just as pornography creates the perverted sense of sexual intimacy, much of what passes as news exists to create a false sense of civic activism. On the crony establishment's right, you have Fox News. To the left is MSNBC, and scattered in between is the formerly respectable Wall Street Journal and other print publications of dubious heritage. They breathlessly demand an emotional response to the stories of the day. They want us glued to our chairs waiting for the next solution-free outrage. What they absolutely do not want is for any of us to get up and exercise our obligations as citizens. News coverage of culture and governance is indistinguishable from sports. We pick teams and are conditioned to observe from the sidelines. It becomes all too easy to confuse simmering on the couch with walking precincts. Yelling at the TV or fiercely clicking links might raise someone's blood pressure, but it doesn't meaningfully impact the world like a conversation with a friend or a family member. The point of journalism should be unambiguous, to provide citizens with the knowledge they need to effectively dominate government and culture. Everything else is entertainment. Now, don't get me wrong. It's completely rational for the events of the day to make your blood boil. I'd be worried if it didn't. The question, though, is not our emotional reaction to new information, but rather what we do with it. As citizens, it's our duty to save the republic. We must be eternally vigilant. Our obligation cannot be outsourced to councilmen or representatives, mayors or presidents. To effectively manage civic affairs, we must be informed and engaged. In our self-governing republic, it's up to each of us to make the affirmative decision to move from being passive recipients of information to active participants in the fight for liberty. If you like today's podcast, be sure to subscribe, rate it, leave a review, and recommend it to your friends. The Reflections podcast is presented by Texas Scorecard, and this edition was produced by Nick Shepard in the 1836 studios. I'm Michael Quinn Sullivan. Thanks for listening.